Good afternoon, everybody. For those who don't know me, I'm Steve Klaskow. I'm the president of Thomas Jefferson University. It's amazing to see this great crowd. Mark, there's a lot more people than we get students for medical school classes, so maybe we should have Lavinia start to teach some of them. Lavinia, I just want to, on behalf of Thomas Jefferson University in Philadelphia, give you a very, very, very warm welcome to a city that has really looked at its relationship with Italy as one of its greatest attributes. And you'll get to know a lot more about Lavinia, but we share some things in common. It might not look like that, but you've developed the Made in Italy brand. We've actually created a brand around East Falls of one of the top fashion design universities in the country. And in fact, if you look at the rankings, you could argue there are 4 hubs for fashion: Milan, London, New York, and this little place called East Falls, Pennsylvania. So I want to thank all of you out there. This relationship that we have with Italy, with you, is incredibly important to me, both professionally and personally. Because to me, Italy is about passion and fashion. And there are a few reasons that it's both important to me professionally and personally. One is I'm a very proud recipient of the Order of the Star, which I received in 2017. And I wear that incredibly proudly because it represents to me all the amazing things that we've been able to do together with Italy and Jefferson and the United States and certainly Philadelphia. It's also important personally to me because I met my wife on Match.com. I was the dean of a medical school, and she was the associate publisher of Vogue. So when we merged with Philadelphia University, an amazing fashion university, people accused me of bringing my personal life into our professional life, of bringing a health science university and a fashion university into one. And the third reason is because that passion and fashion really cements my relationship with the mayor and Dr. Ignacio Marino, who has just done a fantastic job. And I want to give Ignacio a round of applause. I think one could argue he certainly has the passion, and I believe he has the fashion, but what he's been able to do with us in Italy, with the work of our provost and others, you may or may not know this, we have the first medical school in the world, thanks to our relationship with Cattolica University, where you can practice in either the European Union or the United States. We've honored Professor Walter Ricciardi with an honorary degree at Jefferson, and we are looking at some literally world-changing opportunities with Italy around not having borders define how kidneys are exchanged in a global kidney exchange, and a potentially life-saving partnership with Gemelli University in stroke and neuro. So what I also love about your brand and about what you've done is literally the whole designing the future. If you think about what we think differentiates us, and I think you would argue this about your fashion brand, we say our goal is to reimagine healthcare, education, discovery to create unparalleled value. We've actually brought design and healthcare together. I just spent a week at the World Economic Forum, and that's what everybody's talking. How do we design the human experience that starts at home, starts how you feel when you wake up in the morning and what you're wearing, and then literally extends out. So it's not around sick care, it's around how can we have people thrive without health getting in the way. And I believe that what you've done for fashion of how people feel and the whole designing the future is really incredible. So we share your love of fashion, we share your passion, we share your love of Italy. And with that, and we also share the fact that Italy always brings us their best for the consul generals. They go and say, you know, we'll let other people go to some of those other cities, but we're going to bring you our best. And it is absolutely no difference. The individual before, great friend to Jefferson, he got a really tough gig in the Caribbean. But Pierre Forlano has just been a great friend to us. He understands what Philadelphia and Italy can do together. as I've gotten to know you, Pierre, you are a diplomat in every sense of the word. And in today's society, we could certainly use a lot more of that. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you for what you do every day, and we're excited to hear from you. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks. Yeah, thanks.
Cool. How are you? Are you feeling? I promise next time Lavinia is in town, a fashion parade. Why not? I was thinking about that. Why didn't I, Anyway, thanks, Dr. Klasko. Thanks, Dr. Tikoczynski and Ignacio Marino for what you do for my country. And why does the Consulate General finances and participates in these initiatives? Some of you might remember last year we had another two with design and the Fashion Institute of Milan. Because we believe that fashion is a feature of the Italian culture, is a feature of the Italian economy and society. And it is not just fashion, but it's a style of life. It's a way of perceiving the environment, a way of feeling together, a way of building a society based on values that we all share, which is feeling well when you wear something, expressing something through your clothes. Now, why the Italian recipe has been so successful? I think that it has to do with merging design with management, entrepreneurship, and manufacturing, which has proved a success formula in the world. Now, fashion now has become a collaborative process and not just relying on creativity. Creativity is nothing without management and manufacturing, good skills at manufacturing level. So, some numbers now. Total Italian trade balance for fashion, shoes, and accessories for 2018. I'm sorry, I don't have the 2019 figure. 50 billion euros. Is staggering, staggering. Now, we also have to say and remind our audience that Italy owns 1/3 of the luxury multinationals in the world. So when you start thinking about Armani, Ferragamo, Trussardi, Moncler, Compipelle, Ermenegildo Zegna, Versace, Valentino, Roberto Cavalli, Prada, Fendi, Dolce & Gabbana, it becomes a little bit, okay. No, another one. Oh, okay. Anyway, yeah. The new challenges for the future, from my point of view, is spending some time and starting a reflection on how to move fashion to a lifestyle from A to Z. Now, Lavinia, you're going to answer that question for me later on. And another thing I want to just conclude this brief introduction was that I was always impressed by how fashion grabbed and grasped the trend of the market by moving fast. It was the first industry to go online for its sales and to accept an evolution of the concept of shops. If you travel to Milan or, Rome and you want to visit, an Armani shop, it's like a museum. It's not a shop. It's something that, like I said before, it appeals to a lifestyle from A to Z. So book a ticket to Milan before it's too late, or to Rome, because Rome and Milan, they really vie each other for the best, landscape and style. But most importantly, please check the consulate's social network for more events that have to do with style, art, design. We are on Twitter, we are on Facebook, come numerous, and thank you for today. Yes, I forgot to ask you to come to the podium.
So I'm Mark Tikoczynski, the provost of the university, and there are a few things. First of all, I'm glad I graduated from wearing polyester pants and clothes when I first got married, so I'm reminded of that. I've now graduated, and the tie is narrow, right? Okay, good. Private joke from last night's dinner. The other thing is there are two, highlights of the 30 post-merger months of the two universities. One is I got to be part of an MC of the fashion runway show that we have, which I'm hoping you will come to at some point, which would be wonderful. And the second is getting to introduce you. So in order not to get into the bad side of Pat Baldridge, I will now read my comments. Fashion is one of the largest and most important industries in the world. It certainly impacts every human being on Earth, and it has fueled much of the world's economies. Fashion and textiles also are some of the most important disciplines here at Thomas Jefferson University. And our students, many of whom are in the audience here today, are some of the most talented and skilled designers and merchandisers found anywhere. We have had great fortune to have leading university leaders visit this campus and engage with our students. First, I too want to thank Dr. Marino, Senior Vice President for Strategic Affairs and Executive Director of the Jefferson Italy Center, for his efforts to make this special event happen, particularly for our students. Ignazio, you really have been a remarkable leader in bringing the Jefferson Italy Center to life. We are thrilled to have Lavinia Biagiotti Cigna with us to deliver the inaugural Jefferson Philadelphia University Honors Lecture. Ms. Biagiotti Cigna is president and CEO of the Biagiotti Group, which was founded by her grandmother, Delia, in 1965. She has always shared with her mother, Laura, the passion for fashion and for made in Italy. She has always been next to her mother, who led the company for 20 years. Lavinia has promoted the restoration of the company with Laura Biagiotti perfumes of the stairs of the Campidoglio, the fountains of Piazza Farnese in Rome, and also sponsored the renewal of the grandiose stage curtains of the theater Le Fenice of Venice. She's council member of the Biagiotti Cigna Foundation, which owns a collection of more than 200 futuristic operas by Giacomo Balla. She is one of the first supporting the synergy between Made in Italy, fashion, and sport. She is vice president of the Foundation Music for Rome Auditorium Music Park. Lavinia is a member of the Pontificale Femminile Consultative, how's my Italian doing? Body of the, I think I'm going to, of the board of the Vatican Culture, I can read that, as well as president of Marco Simone Golf and Country Club. And I think you've had the opportunity of meeting some of our women's golf team here, so that was great today. Please welcome Lavinia Biagiotti Cigna. Thank you. Great.
Thank you. Thank you. Oops. Thank you. Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for these wonderful words. That's too much, maybe, but I'm just Lavinia for you all. Thank you so much for having me here. It's a very, very special moment for me. So I'd love to thank Steve Klasko for his touching words, for his friendship, and for having me coming here. And Mark Tikoczynski for being so friendly from last night. We had a lovely conversation. Thank you so much for welcoming me in such a warm way, and your ties are perfect. And the council, which I just met, but has been so kind to honor me with his presence here, Pier Forlano, and I look forward to strengthening our relationships in the near future in many different fields. It can be fashion, it can be arts, it can be sports, it can be passion for different ways of being and living, like she said, spreading Made in Italy all across the country, ideally, starting from Philadelphia, starting a new journey together for our beautiful Made in Italy industry. And of course, Professor Marino, he's been my mayor. I don't know if everybody knows, not just great professor, not just building bridges between Philadelphia and Rome, but a wonderful mayor of my wonderful city of Rome. And we've been working on culture, fashion, arts, music together. It's been a nice time, and sports and the Ryder Cup. So thank you so much for keeping this relationship alive with new adventures that we're starting together today. Thank you so much. I'd like to thank all the teachers and the students who gave me such a warm welcome today. I went through the campus and I was amazed to see all the technology and all the features that you have and all the passion and how concentrated and skills the students are. I was blessed to have lunch with about 10 of them. And I was impressed. I was honestly impressed. It was like speaking to my colleagues, to people who have been in fashion for many, many years. So I think you're doing a wonderful job with the next generation of fashion designers or fashion entrepreneurs. So I'd like to thank all the students who gathered here. I'd like to thank my team, Valentina and Raffaele, who supported me and made it possible for me to be here today. And a very, very special friend that is sitting in the first row right now. She's the first Afro-American model who broke the ceiling. Now there's a big discussion about women breaking the ceiling. I don't want to start this now, but of course I'm a woman and I do empowerment in a soft, kind, gentle way every day and every moment. So this amazing woman broke the ceiling many years ago. She's the first, again, Afro-American model, Pat Cleveland. She's here today and thank you. She will be joining me later, maybe. For a chat. So I think I'm done with the thank yous, but they all come deeply from my heart. So we can start. Well, more thank yous, I think. To my mother and my grandmother, Delia and Laura. It's 3 generations of women. There is a very special thread that keeps together in our company and in our lives, past, present, and future. And what I'm going to do today is I'm going to try to translate our story, to walk our story with you, to start a journey, and to translate our story into, I wouldn't say tips, but at least recommendations for all the students that are here. I'd love you to pick some little words from my personal experience and make them yours and turn them into your own career, into your own success. Whenever you're struggling, maybe a little word can help you to, overcome the problem and solve it and maybe give you an inspiration or a new idea. So I left most of the slides white, so you can write whatever you want on that side. You can be inspired, you can make it yours, you can put your own feelings. So we're starting the journey introducing you to my family, the 3 generations. Delia was a very smart woman who lost her parents when she was only 14 in 1928. So she raised the sleeves. My sleeves are always ruined like this because that's not so elegant, but I'm always prepared to hard work. And she's been doing so many different things in her life. And at some point, she decided to open a small atelier in Rome, and it was 1965, July, so 55 years ago. Those were the Dolce Vita years, wonderful years for our wonderful city. And all the actresses from America would come to Rome and would want Italian gowns for the Oscars, for the movies, and she had this very, very small atelier. And my mother, Laura, was studying archaeology at university. She had a big passion for arts and culture. But the business was expanding. Alitalia, the Italian airline, called my grandmother to design the uniforms. So American people started to know her, and she did not speak English because she started working when she was only 14 in the 20s. So my mother quit university and she started to work with my grandmother. And in 1972, she came up with her label, with the first Laura Biagiotti collection, and she literally made the success of Made in Italy. It was her, it was Armani, it was the Missoni. Most of them have been mentioned by our consul. And they were brave. They would come to America and show the amazing things we could do with simple pieces of fabric, and everybody wanted. So they were really the brave entrepreneurs, a wonderful team, a very strong team, which is what we need in Italy right now, a new strong generation of people who work together properly and come to America and show how good we are at doing things. So she really brought it to success in so many different ways. And I'm the 3rd generation. I started to work at the age of 17 when I lost my father. He was the manager, she was the creative. They were a perfect couple. I was sharing this with some of the students I met this morning. The success never comes from one single person in every field, but especially in fashion. Team up with someone you love, with someone you trust, with someone that can help you in the bad moments, with someone that can give you the right inspiration and support when you need it. So they were a wonderful couple. And actually, this is something you might not know. I wanted to study medicine. That was my big dream when I was a child. So that's why I really feel at home here today. Because I thought I wanted to be a doctor. I wanted to work on bodies in a different way. I loved fashion. I was born on the day of the fashion show on October 12th, which by the way is Columbus Day, in 1978. So fashion was part of my DNA from day one. But I wanted to study medicine. Anyhow, when my father passed away, I thought my mother needed my help, my support. We needed to keep it as a family business, and we can go to slide 2 now. So I joined the company, and I'm glad I made that choice. So I never finished campus, actually. I could come here and graduate at some point in my life. If you take very senior students, if there's a hope, I might think of coming to Philadelphia and graduate here. So our business is definitely a family business, and family is crucial throughout our story, and family is crucial for everybody. So keep this in mind. I know you're in that age where you want to go far from family, and it's good. Many of you might have taken brave decisions coming to live here from somewhere in the country and leaving everything behind the shoulders, but don't forget to keep the family as sort of protection. That's where your heart is, and their support will make your business really, really special and amazing. This is me and my mom coming out on the catwalk at the end of one of the thousands of fashion shows that we've done together, and we were a great team. It's always nice to combine a senior element with a junior element. Italy is an old country, unfortunately, and there's not that much space for young students and young people. But if you want to go too young, you miss the experience. I think the very big success, so listen to your teachers, try to find a mentor. I was lucky enough to have a mentor in my mother. Even though she was a tough mentor, the first 2 years, all I could do in my company was photocopies. Then I came to New York, and I was working in our shop in New York, and that's where I learned how to work with different bodies, because ladies in New York can be really, really big or really, really thin, and they want the same dress. So that's challenging, because dressing a model, dressing Pat, I can be blind, and she's gonna look amazing. But they would come, and I lived in New York for a while, and that was one of the best experiences in my life. And maybe you might think, oh, did she started her career in the fitting rooms? Yes, I did, and that was so helpful because I knew what women want, what women need. And what looks beautiful on the catwalk is not always so easy, for a woman. You have to make her feel good, not the model. So that was really good for me. So we can go to number 3. Oh, this is something I really love. So as I was mentioning before, my mom came to America in the 70s, and the New York Times named her the Queen of Cashmere. That's something we've always been very proud of. She took cashmere, which was a yarn related to the English wardrobe, very masculine, let me say boring. And she turned it into something totally different. She turned it into fashion. She turned it into evening dresses, into jumpsuits, into what Pat is wearing today, casual or elegant or fancy. And the New York Times said, oh, this, little strong woman from Italy has made a revolution, because cashmere frees your body. You can feel comfortable, you can travel in it, it doesn't shrink, it doesn't ruin. So I guess some of you are working on yarns. I mean, the needs are very important in fashion. So keep doing that and keep in mind there's a great potential in that field. And I love these 2 pictures. You can even see the Twin Towers in the back. So that's a picture from the early 80s of one of our cashmere outfits shot by the New York Times. I don't know if you recognize the model, Pat, I can't remember who she is. And I love that picture of my mom jumping on a cab with the writing "Kiss the Future." That was just done by chance, but I think it was prophetic somehow. We can move. And this is another story, talents. You have to recognize talents. My mother discovered so many models. Cindy Crawford here, super young. She looks like her daughter Kaya. Shot her first campaign with my mom. So did so many of them, like Eva Zigova, Claudia Schiffer. She had the vision to recognize talents, not just in entrepreneurship or designing, but even in modeling. So that's, keep your eyes open, be curious, be smart, try to understand where talent is hidden, and try to build your own career with someone else. Start together and do something big. Let's move on. Pioneering. Well, this is real vision. My mother, Laura, was the first Italian designer ever to do a fashion show in China in 1988. Now, you guys are too young, but not all of us are that young. 1989 was the year of the Tiananmen Revolution. So in 1988, most of the people in China would still wear uniforms, the Mao uniform. They knew nothing about fashion. Nobody spoke English at all. And how could this happen? My mother was very famous in Japan. And on her way to Japan, she was invited for a weekend in Beijing. You know, in the 80s, everybody was crazy. They would go to Beijing for a weekend. And she met the Minister of Culture. And he said to her, you have such a delicate approach to fashion. You could be the first designer to do a fashion show in China. So she goes to Tokyo, she comes back to her headquarters in Rome, and we receive a telex. None of you knows what a telex is. You guys come from the Instagram generation, but I'll try to explain. So not even a fax. Telex was like a yellow, how can I say, a yellow stripe with little holes, and someone was translating it. And she was at the reception, and she was reading, oh my God, this is from China. With this nice, it's the Minister of Culture inviting Mrs. Biagiotti to do a fashion show. So that's how prehistoric this whole story was. And I mean, the big vision. So that's the first non-governative picture that was ever authorized in Tiananmen Square with my mom and the models. It was really a revolutionary story. And the New York Times then titled East and West Meet on the Catwalk. And now China is one of the main markets. Now, happy or not, that's the reality for fashion brands and Italian fashion brands. So it was really revolutionary to do a fashion show in 1988. And then we come to 1985. Pat and I were there in Russia. My mother was the first Italian designer to do a fashion show in Russia as well. Now, Russia is a big luxury market, so you might think I'm crazy. But in 1995, there was no luxury, no fashion, no shops. So why did my mother go to China and to Russia so early? It was not for sales. We had no shops. It was not for business. It was to build bridges. Fashion can build bridges. Nobody spoke English, nor in China or in Russia. But it was easy to communicate through beauty. These models had never modeled. They were just good-looking girls. But then when they saw the outfits, they were just happy and smiling. So fashion is a language with no words. It's a language that can communicate in so many different ways and can build bridges. So the reason behind these two fashion shows was not business, was bridges. We can, okay. And then when you travel a lot, you want to go back home. You want to go back to your roots. And our roots are in Roma, which is where the brand was founded. And my mother decided to dedicate to Rome our most successful fragrance. Now in this picture, you see the giant photographer Helmut Newton, which I met, taking a Polaroid, lying on the floor to a bottle of Roma Uomo, our main male fragrance. And his wife, Ellie Spring, is taking this picture. So there's a whole story in a story. And my mother decided to launch Roma in 1988, the same year of the China fashion show. And this fragrance is still successful after 32 years. Now, the life of a fragrance, average life, is 18 to 24 months. They disappear like that. It's such a tough industry. I'm in the fragrance business personally since 22 years. So I know a lot about it. I don't know if any of you has ever thought of how fragrances are important for fashion brands, but I don't know if you teach anything about fragrances here, but what brands sell the most is fragrances. French brands, Italian brands, American brands. The base of the pyramid, the base of the business is fragrances. So it's interesting to start putting this seed into your students' visions and mindsets. And from Roma fragrance to Rome 2022. So this is a break. I've spoken enough about fashion. Now let's jump to another world. All the gentlemen might feel a little relieved. Now we stop speaking about fragrances and dresses and fashion shows. We're speaking about golf. Who's familiar with the Ryder Cup? I hope most of you. Otherwise, I did a big mistake in my life. Okay, thanks. And I know you have a team of golfers. Can I see? I've met a girl. Where are the golfers? You're there. Okay. We met earlier. My parents built a golf course called Marco Simone, which is around our headquarters. So I'm blessed enough to live and work in a beautiful environment, as the beautiful environment that you have here. And it's so nice to be creative in nature and green. Fashion is so stressful. You will learn that every day more. So being in a peaceful spot of the world can help your creativity, can help your balance. And so I live in this beautiful place in the countryside. At some point, my parents decided to build a golf course to preserve the green and to be sustainable. And that was many years ago. So that's another vision. And 5 years ago, I thought we could do the big jump. So I supported our government in bidding to host the Ryder Cup. The Ryder Cup is the third major sports event in the world. It's only comes after the Olympics and the Soccer World Cup. So last one was seen on TV, but by 1.8 billion people. So numbers are huge and massive. And I'm going to host it in my garden. So that's kind of scary. It is. It's never been to Italy, but as the council said before, Italians never really work for themselves. We work for our country, we work for our flag, and thank you so much for having our flag there. I appreciate it very much. I think we have to give back. Our country has given us so much beauty, so much culture, so many chances. So now I'm totally into golf, and we will be hosting the Ryder Cup in 2022. And I don't know if any of you knows how you say the word sweater in Italian. Do you know? Nobody? Golf. So my life is made of cashmere golfs and green golfs. It's the same thing. My day is divided 8 hours and 8 hours. I work on the Ryder Cup big project, and the other 8 hours I work on the other golf, which is the fashion golf. Okay, let's... Mecenate. This is a chapter, this is a part of the journey I love so much. It has been mentioned already. Thank you. We have to give back, and it's great to give back. So we restored some of the most beautiful monuments in Italy. This is the Capitolium Square, where the mayor has been ruling the city for many years, and it was designed by Michelangelo. And my mother and I, instead of buying a jet or doing something crazy that sometimes people do in fashion, and I totally respect, we decided to give something back to our beautiful city. And we thought anytime we will pass by the Scala Cordonata del Campidoglio, we will feel happy, we will feel proud. So that was the first big restoration ever made by a fashion brand in our city. And so many followed, Bulgari, Fendi, Della Valle. So I'm really proud we opened that way as well. And you have to keep arts and culture in mind if you want to be in this business, because they're such a big source of inspiration. And they give you the sense of eternity. Fashion runs so fast. I will be showing my next collection in Milan in 3 weeks, which is fall-winter 2021. So doing something like this gives you a strong relationship with time, calms you down. In such a fast world, art can give you the peace that you need to be very, very creative. And this is another restoration that we did. It was mentioned before, the curtain of La Fenice. I hope some of you have been to Venice. Now, Venice is one of the most beautiful places in the world, and Venice is struggling, so we need support. We've had this high water, l'acqua granda, as they call it in Venice, and it destroyed part of San Marco's Basilica, and so we need the world to be aware of how beautiful and fragile our country is. So La Fenice Theater is such a creative place, wonderful place. It burned out, totally burned out in 1996. That was the year that my father, Gianni, died. So it was a very sad year for my mother and myself. So the theater was burning, our life was changing so much. So she picks the phone and calls La Fenice and says, "I'm Laura Biagiotti, how can I help? Can I come there and help you, cleaning the floors or whatever?" And they said, "Well, we would need a new curtain. Once we're all set, can you give it to us?" So this is made of 2,000 daisies, hand embroidered in gold, with real gold. So fashion can not just be related to dresses or to design or to furniture, but you can even do some amazing things like the curtain of a theater. So don't put barriers to your creativity. Spread your creativity all around, and let's try to achieve that lifestyle goal that she suggested. And more art, more art. Giacomo Balla has been mentioned. We do so many different things. You might think we're crazy, but if you want to be in fashion, you have to be very, very open to include in your life so many different worlds. And they will all merge into beauty and happiness, I promise you. So my parents collected one of the most important collections of futurist art. I don't know if any of you have ever heard about Giacomo Balla, but I challenge you to check it online. At the MoMA Museum in New York, there are so many beautiful masterpieces from Giacomo Balla. He invented a new way of considering art with shapes and colors. I don't want to give you an art lecture, but if you invite me to do so in the near future, I'd love to, because what he did in arts and fashion was so revolutionary and so new. So we own this collection, we let students come and study, and we use it as an inspiration for our own collection. So this was one of the latest outfits we showed, inspired by his fishes, because his idea was to fill cities. If you can't have real fishes, at least let's have painted fake fishes to add some nature to our cities. And that's where designing the future motto comes from, Giacomo Balla. Bio. I was asked today by one of the students how we include sustainability in our policies. I'm proud to say that we are sustainable since day one. First of all, because we're a family. Being sustainable is not just a matter of fabric. It's a matter of processes. It's a matter of relationships. It's a matter of values. And of course, it's a matter of materials. So we definitely include natural materials, and cashmere is a natural yarn. So we naturally include them in our policies, in our collections. And one day, a few years ago, I find out that the worst accessory for the environment is glasses and sunglasses. We might think it's plastic, polyester, but it's not. It's sunglasses, the acetate. So we worked, this is something that is owned by Biagiotti. It's patent proof, and we worked on a new bioplastic for eyeglasses and sunglasses, which is 100% recyclable and comes from natural materials. So this is just a little drop of how you can be sustainable in different ways, not just using, natural yarns and fabrics, but in thinking out of the box and trying to be bio and sustainable in so many different ways. And then the logo, our identity. By the way, this is Anna Cleveland, Pat's daughter's beautiful and very inspiring and spiritual woman. And she was performing our latest campaign. And this is one of our bags. Logos are our identity. Now, logo is back. Why? Why is logo back? First of all, because it's a new generation. All the ones who use the logo, my generation, we know the story of logos, but now there's a new generation that's falling in love with logos and wants stories, not those stories that last 24 hours on Instagram. They want real stories to rely on. So this is what logo stands for. It's not just a fancy design. It's identity. It's an identity that has values behind. So I definitely encourage you to think of your own logo and think of a logo that says something really strong about you. This was designed in the 70s and it's still very contemporary. And I've been speaking already about fragrances. I want to stress out this point because fragrances are really key in the fashion industry. It takes more than 2 years to design a fragrance. There are so many tests to go through. You have to put it in the oven. It's medical. It's medical. We have so many tests on skin. So this is probably the area where we're closer, because I'm always very nervous when I have to get the results from the testings. But it's one of my favorite creations. This is the first fragrance ever designed since my mother passed away, and I decided to call it Forever. I think we all need something that lasts forever in life. And my mother used to say something very beautiful about fragrances, because they dress our soul. They have no size. You can try them on without feeling embarrassed. And if you think of a person, if you close your eyes, the first thing I remember is the smell. The second thing is what the person was wearing. So it's really a time machine. It has such an evocative power. And again, they're very important for fashion houses. We are coming to the end, and I think we're right on time. So I'm getting ready for my next fashion show, which is in Milan in 3 weeks. I invite you to come and see me if anybody of you can come to Milan we show in a theater. It's called Piccolo Teatro again. Instead of choosing a location, we decided to support culture, and it's 22 years that we're showing in Piccolo Teatro Studio, which is a very special place in Milan. And every time we change set, we change mood, we change story. And last fall was performed by Pat in a very, very emotional way. She was back on the catwalk after a few seasons, let me say. Now, most of the iconic models are back on catwalks. Why do you think that is happening? Because of identities, because of stories. People want strong stories to inspire themselves. And so it was amazing. The whole theater was dancing and singing with her. So maybe we can see the video.
Secret you can't tell makes a special groove with fire inside of you. Anytime you feel danger or fear, then instantly I will appear. Oh, I'm every woman. It's all in me. Anything you want done, baby, do it naturally.
Thank you. Pass, please. Two is so much better than one. It's not that fun to be alone on stage, you know. Being two is so, so much better. And Pat was such a great, loving friend of my mother. And she made me feel self-confident. You know, fashion can be a very, very tough world. And that's something we discussed at lunchtime. So I'd love Pat to say a few things. And I'd love to thank you all for being here today, for giving me such a warm welcome, and for making me understand once more that fashion is made of love and of happiness and of being together and sharing. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Fashion is love, and Lavinia is love. And we've had so many wonderful years of making the cashmere feel good, like butter. It feels so good, you have to try it yourself. And we go to Rome, we do the fittings, we're there, and Lavinia is so good with the girls, and she gives a lot of support to everyone, new and old friends. And the beauty of the show is it's so spectacular. People get goosebumps when they go out, and they're so proud to be part of the audience and part of her life and her lifestyle, which is so beautiful, you know, very gentle and serene and full of, very blissful, actually, considering that, you know, fashion is very brutal sometimes. So, you know, the feeling you get with the Lavinia B, it's the LB, continues to feel good. And I'm really proud to be a part of your show. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
So I'm Mike Leonard, and I'm the Dean of the School of Design and Engineering. And I have the distinct honor to welcome who is fastly becoming one of my favorite new educators. See if you would answer a few questions from the audience. We're so glad you're here, and so it's only appropriate if anybody has a question. We're going to see if we have any hands. You answered all questions. We do have somebody brave over there.
That's okay. What changes do you think we'll see in the fashion industry in the next year and in the next 5 years?
Well, sustainability. Yeah. Are we back? Yes. Sustainability is the big challenge right now for everybody. Giving yourself new policies, new materials, new attitudes. Being green is so much the new thing in fashion right now. Everybody's changing collections and productions and accessories. So I think that's what we will see in the next season, which starts in a few days in New York. I call it a circus. It's like a circus. It's like a big wave starting in America. So starting in New York, maybe one day it will start in Philadelphia, but I know some of your some of your students are going to New York, and I'm so proud. I'll follow them on social media. So it's going to start in New York, then land in London, then come to Milan and end up in Paris. So what I guess we will see is sustainability, but yes, the new challenge is to create a new lifestyle and to cultivate yourself in so many different ways. It's not just a matter of outfits.
One of the things that you had mentioned in lunch, at lunch, and this, we have so many students who are working very hard. About how many collections? Oh, yeah. You got to hear this.
I didn't want to share numbers, but I work on 70 collections a year, 35 per season plus fragrances. So in the next 3 weeks, I will release 35 collections from homeware to kids to shoes, sunglasses, underwear, what else? Bags, accessories. So it's very challenging. And one thing I brought to share today, that's probably the most important thing that my mom taught me, is to start every day from this. So first day I was in the office, she says, this is your challenge, baby. You have to start every day from a white sheet. You have to use it to write something new, something sustainable, something with values, something beautiful, and something fun. Don't forget to play when you do what you do. So every single morning I wake up, I have this all around the world, wherever I go, whenever I travel, I look at this white, and it can be so scary, because sometimes you wake up and you don't really feel like writing something amazing on this piece of paper. But that's the first thing she taught me, and that's what I do every single day, challenge myself to do something new, to change skin, and to be happy with it, have fun with it.
You have another question? Oh, you have somebody right here. Oh, in the back.
Which advancement in technology do you feel is having the greatest impact on the fashion industry?
Which, sorry?
Which advancement?
Which
in technology?
advancement in technology?
Again, it's so much back to being sustainable right now. So recycling materials, I think that's the real thing. I've seen some amazing technology features here this morning. I was so impressed. I mean, the big brands don't have them. So you're lucky. The students are really lucky to be working on these machines. They are futuristic. They are really, really advanced. So we all take a big advantage of, the innovation in machinery and in new techniques for sure. But again, what's really challenging now is how to make it in a sustainable way.
We have someone right up here in front.
Yeah. What is your advice to students who are looking to get involved in the fashion industry?
Do you have a few hours? Well, first of all, you're really lucky to be here. I guess you must be proud of your choice, because I visit so many universities and campuses across Europe, and I hardly ever see what I've seen here today. So you're really privileged, and try to learn as much as possible by your people. Try to use all the features that are given to you, because they are really, really amazing. And be prepared to a lot of work. I told you, my life has been very challenging, and it's very challenging every day. You're never established. Be curious. Be very, very curious. Be very open. And try to find a mentor. So when you get out of here, what I would do, if I was you, I would try to be, and I was sharing this at lunchtime, I would try to be someone's assistant. It can be a photographer, a stylist, fashion editor, whomever, but you have to start to work. You need to work when you get out of here. You need to learn from someone who shows you the ropes of the business. You can even go in a shop, in a store, feel humble, always be very humble, and get someone who teaches you. That was so good for me to work with women in fitting rooms. So my main suggestion would be learn here as much as possible and try to find a mentor, try to find someone who drives you, leads you through this world.
At lunch, you were also telling some of the students which valuable information about making sure they took care of themselves.
Yes, which I don't do as good as I say. But yes. No, I was taught by my mother not to get overloaded with work and fashion. Fashion is a virus. It's a wonderful virus, but you have to protect yourself sometimes. And family is the best solution to feel protected, and friends, and go out for a walk. Always try to rebalance. You always have to try to take your time, take it easy, because sometimes we take it too seriously in fashion, and take care.
Students, tell your family that she said, call your mother.
And tell her I say hello. Are we done?
We have one over here.
I got one over here. Thank you, by the way, for being on campus with us. We really value your time. Thank you. We often tell our students that you're not defined by what happens to you, but you're defined by how you respond to what happens to you.
Right.
So could you describe for our students one of the setbacks you run into in your career and how you used it to respond?
Thank you. Well, it's a very interesting question. This happens all the time. I think you never really fail. I've seen, what did we read this morning? Pressure is a key to success. What did we read? It was written somewhere on my tour this morning. Stress is a key to success. So I think you never really fail in life. You learn. That's my vision. And this doesn't mean I was always successful at all, me or my brand. So I've launched some collections, for instance, that I loved so much, in which I believed. We made huge investments behind them, and they did not perform. And they had all the ingredients to be successful. They had a long story, they had amazing models, amazing fabrics, amazing photographers, fashion shows and fashion week. But then for some reason, it was not the right moment. And you don't have to feel bad about it. You have to learn, you have to try again, probably from another angle, probably take a part of that project that was good and turn it into something completely different. Don't throw away what you did, just transform it. My vision is you never throw away anything in fashion, even the white ties. When narrow ties are in fashion, because they're going to come back, or you might use them for something else. So yes, you definitely, as in every field, you definitely learn from mistakes, and be very careful when people say that you're not doing well, because it's so difficult to judge beauty. It's not like math. It's not objective. So if someone comes and says, I don't like what you're doing, you have to thank them for their opinion and move forward.
Very good, very good. Excellent. We have time for one more. Right here.
Hi, I also wanted to thank you for taking the time to be here today. And as you know, we have our Rome Study Abroad program here. What place do you recommend visiting while over there? I'm right here.
Okay. This light is like, I'm going to be tanned by the time I get out of here. Well, it's a lifetime is not enough to visit Rome, correct? Yet. But I think it's a perfect moment for young people to visit our city. There are so many new things going on, like the Guido Reni district, where the Maxi Museum, there's all contemporary area, which is very, very exciting, which I definitely recommend you to visit. And of course, the historical Rome, the ancient Rome, the museums and the parks and the nature. And I would say try to, do a round trip, Rome, Florence, Milan. I think that would be very important if you have weekends off, if you have any time to do it, because you get 3 different kinds of inspiration. And in Milan, you really get the energy of fashion. Milan is changing so much and so fast. So I would think of, combining the 3 cities to have a problem. And there are the 3 fashion cities, because Fashion Week is in Milan. The big fairs are in Florence, Pitti. So I would recommend to visit a fair in Florence, Pitti Uomo or Pitti Bimbo. And then Rome is the high fashion and the talent scout Fashion Week.
All right, so I'm going to cross over because I too have a Pat Baldridge note that I must read, so I'll be right there. Take my Ermenegildo Zegna tie over. Lavinia, as is our tradition, we want to present to you this original and extraordinary textile, which was designed and created by Thomas Jefferson University alumnus Ji Young Park. She graduated from Jefferson's MS in Textile Design program in December of 2019. She specialized in weaving and printing and is focused on innovation in woven textiles. And we hope that you will love and use this textile and that you will come back and visit us again soon. Thank you so much. Wonderful. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yes, you certainly can. We'd be offended if you didn't open it.
I love presents. It's nicely wrapped.
I can help if you.
Otherwise,
We're going to be here for, there we go.
almost done.
That's okay. Part of the special test. Yeah, that's right.
If we do that on the catwalk, can you change it?
Yeah.
Part of your application for medical school.
Sorry.
Wow.
See, that's the reaction. Whoa.
Wow, this is so innovative. That's so nice. Yeah, I can wear it.
Yeah, there we go. We planned all that. We're really good here.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Thank you all so much.
And now, everyone, if you'll join us in the living room across the hall we have a little reception. Thank you.